So, welcome to Northern Powerhouses, our business success stories series of interviews, where we discuss with local business leaders, their backgrounds, their successes and challenges, and what's really driving them forwards. And this morning, I'm delighted to have with us Scot Flight, who's director at Cox Flight Financial Solutions. So, firstly, Scot, thank you for spending a bit of time with us. And if you'd like to introduce yourself and your business to the audience, what you do and how you help people, that would be wonderful.
Okay, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invite, Chris. And so our business, Cox Flight Financial Solutions, we're a relatively new business. We've been trading now for just over a couple of years, but we've been 38 years in the making that I've been involved in the business that we're with. So Cox Flight Financial Solutions ostensibly is a mortgage broking business.
Yeah.
We help people buying property, selling property, remortgaging to help save themselves money. We're also passionate about the protection side of things because taking out a mortgage is the biggest debt that anybody is likely to get themselves into.
Yes.
So we want to make sure that no matter what life throws at one of our clients, then the one thing they don't have to worry about is losing the roof above their heads.
Yeah.
But it's not just people that are taking out mortgages that we deal with, because our business model is that we onboard independent businesses like estate agents, lettings agents, accountants, auction houses, these sorts of businesses where they have a client bank that's screaming out for some top-notch mortgage and protection service. But included in those businesses, there's also lettings agents as well.
Yes.
So those clients want a home, they want a roof over their head. They aren't taking out a mortgage, but they're reliant upon their income exactly the same as somebody who's taking out a mortgage.
Yeah.
And they're exposed to exactly the same risk profile, i.e. lose the job, off work poorly, long-term sickness, some of the nasty things in life like cancer, heart attack, is going to impact upon their ability to work, or indeed death. So we also have a range of protection products that are tailor-made for tenants as well. So we can cover the whole of the sort of residential market, if you like.
Brilliant.
And that's what we do. We have a number of specialist brokers that we work with under our banner, and we try and help as many people as possible.
Wonderful, wonderful, great. Really interesting point that, as you say, that whether you own or rent, it's the same sort of proposition. Is we need support if we, for whatever reason, we can't afford to keep the roof over your head, as you say, which is one of the most important things.
Well, historically, financial services so-called experts have tended to gravitate towards people taking out mortgages,
Yes,
and almost ignore tenants.
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays, with the average cost of property and the amount of money it's required to get a deposit and to get a start on the ladder, a lot of people are in rented accommodation, not through choice, but as that's
Yes.
what's available to them to get their own independence and get away from mum and dad.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you want to look after these people properly as well? Because at the end of the day, they're probably the first-time buyers of tomorrow as well. So if you can look after them now, that'll stand them in good stead for eventually when hopefully they do move on to the purchase side of things.
Great point. Yeah, no, makes absolute sense. So, Scot, if we, maybe look back a little bit, about your background, how you got into business, and why this particular one.
Okay, well, my background, as you can probably tell from my accent, I'm not native to the Leeds and Yorkshire area, and I did grow up and go to school in Scotland. I had a very happy childhood. And when we talk about business, actually, I had no intention of getting involved in the finance and property side of things when I was younger. Golf was my passion because obviously coming from the east coast of Scotland, it's in our blood, and it was also a family affair because my parents both played as well. So I had dreams and ambitions to be a professional golfer. That's what
Brilliant.
I wanted to be. My dad was a professional ice hockey player before he retired. So sport and competitiveness are something that's in our blood. When my dad retired from playing, he moved into the sort of petrol, oil, fuel business and worked for a company called Petrofina. And that's what brought us down to England, basically, because Petrofina and BP had an agreement where they shared each other's refineries. BP was in Grangemouth, and
Yes.
Petrofina was in Immingham in Hull.
Yes.
And there was a bit of a fallout between the two, between pricing. So Petrofina said, right, well, we're pulling out of Scotland, and we're moving down to England. So hence the reason we ended up coming down here. Yeah, I'd just left high school. I was due to go to university in Stirling, but my parents wanted me to come down, and because of different term times and things like that, I ended up going to Leeds Uni.
Right.
I picked a last minute course, which was town planning and environmental studies. So I
Wow.
suppose it is sort of property related in some shape or
Yeah.
form. But I actually hated it. It was so dull, so
Yeah.
boring. It was anyway. That's not to be disrespectful to town planners, and
Of
environmental
course.
studies people out there. Just for me, it wasn't the right thing. So we joined the local golf course naturally, which was Otley Golf Course, and I put out some feelers round the club of people that I'm thinking of. I played for the scratch team and what have you,
Right.
so I was quite
Right.
well connected there. And I put out some feelers about for jobs and things like that, and
Yep.
that's actually how I ended up getting into finance and property.
Yeah.
There's somebody that I knew there that opened up a few doors for me, and it was all through chance really that I got involved in this business. As I say, 38 years ago.
Amazing, amazing. What a journey. Funnily enough, for a couple of things, I know both Immingham and Grangemouth, both were one professionally and one. I know a couple of guys at the rugby team up with Grangemouth going back a long way.
All right.
Yeah, we used to stay there. Funnily enough, when we used to go watch Scotland play Wales, but that was a long time ago. So really interesting, as you say, career, and interesting also that you connected that sort of competitive nature that you've got from your father, and so I mean, again, as you founded the business 2.5 years ago, what would you say are some of the biggest issues that you've had to overcome as you founded and started your growth journey?
Might be slightly off the wall this one, but one of the biggest issues that I've got is I'm actually colorblind, particularly badly colorblind, or
Right.
to give it its proper name is color vision impaired,
Yeah.
which 1 in 12 men are, which is about what 8.5% of the male population,
Wow.
which is actually huge. Now,
Yep.
the reason I mention it is, which most people don't realise, the number of things nowadays that are color coded.
Yep.
So if you think of on buttons and off buttons that are green and red,
Yes.
I can't see them
Yes.
at all. Um, and anything where colour's a differentiator, whether it's graphs, whether it's websites, whether you've got to not
Yep.
navigate yourself through with radio buttons and things like that, I can't see these properly.
Goodness.
So people like me. So yeah, sometimes it's really amusing. Thankfully, my sons haven't been affected by it, and so sometimes they think it's really amusing when I think I've got a blue shirt on. It's actually bright pink and things like that, and so they think it's quite amusing. But when it comes to business, nobody really caters for
Yeah.
people with colour vision
Yes.
deficiency. And I'll come on to that because when we set up our website, one of the things that we wanted to do was actually give back. So one of the charities that we're involved with is colour vision deficiency.
Right.
And naturally, when we set up our website, if you have got some colour issues, you can actually click to change the website so that you can actually view it for people with colour,
Brilliant.
people who struggle with it as well.
Brilliant.
So over the years, everybody just automatically assumes working in finance and property, everything, as I say, whether it's graphs, whether it's figures,
Yep.
is all color coded to
Yes.
differentiate things. And that's what I've struggled with over the years, really, in
Goodness.
terms of issues to overcome. So that's probably one of the biggest ones. But also setting up a business from scratch.
Yeah.
we were just coming out of COVID. We'd been in lockdown.
Yes.
Both myself and my business partner, we'd been in our cosy corporate world for 30 odd plus years, and decided to put our money where our mouth is and set up our own business and actually put the clients first as opposed to the shareholders first.
Yep. Great.
So whilst we thought we knew everything about business, it turned out the amount we actually knew about business in setting up a new business was very little. So that was whilst it was a challenge, it was great because we're doing everything from scratch and learning every day.
Yeah. Brilliant. It's a great point, and I often say, to people that most great businesses are founded by people that are good at what they do. That doesn't automatically mean they're good at running a business or what they do, if that makes sense, because it's a different discipline. Look, being a business manager, a business owner, is a whole new bunch of skills. But as you say, the great thing is you've got to do it your way.
Well, the biggest challenge, going back to paraphrase that again, is that we were both at senior director levels in our previous companies.
Yes.
And a lot of the stuff that we've done when it's come to marketing, when it's come to websites, when it's come to drafting contracts, all these sorts of things, it seems quite conceited, but we used to have people that we could rely on to do these things for us.
Yep.
In the corporate world,
I totally
because we had legal departments, we had HR departments, all these things that you could rely on. Whereas when you set up your business, like, oh, that's me now.
Absolutely. It is that sort of cold hard truth that it's all down to me, and all these skills I may have learned at some point in my career, but they're not current to me now. So there's a massive learning curve, isn't there? And it's exciting but challenging too.
That's why I felt that the program with Adventure and what have you in the Northern Powerhouse was so useful, because of the learning that it gave us.
Yes.
When we were founding the business and launching the business and running the business, really, which is invaluable. So anybody that's thinking of doing the same sort of thing, or indeed somebody who's recently launched a business, then I would compel them to reach out, because of the help was invaluable to us.
Brilliant. But fantastic, yeah. There's so much help available locally, both sort of at the national level and then the local regional level. And so few people know enough about it, and I think it's really key that we get that message out, that there is lots of help out there at any stage in business and business growth. And obviously you've had a lot of learning of setting up and growing the business, but what would you say the biggest learnings you've had about founding and growing a business, Scott?
I would probably say that every day is a learning day.
Yeah.
Every day is a school day. I'd also say as well, make the most of it, because you never know when it's going to be the last one. So embrace it, enjoy it. And sometimes you've got to take one step backwards, take two steps forwards. That's just life, really. And I also think as well that hard work and persistence pays off. Our business, don't want to be conceited, but working in our industry for the length of time that we have, our names are quite well known, because it's quite a small incestuous world. And some of the things that we hold dear, and maybe it's my Scottish upbringing, is never compromise on honesty and integrity, because these things are what reputations are made of. And that's really what we've tried to implement into our business, that we do what we say and we say what we do. And I'd also say as well that if you're doing something you enjoy, you'll love it more. Don't just do it just because you think you should, or doing it purely and simply for the financial side of things. There's a whole kaleidoscope of reasons why you should do something, that you should get something a buzz from.
And I couldn't agree more. It's it seems always crazy that so many people in business sort of, I always sort of describe that thought that, oh right, we'll put a life on hold for 10 years and hope the success turns up in 10 years, and in the meantime I'll just have a crappy life. And there really is no need for that. And I think the closer we get to doing stuff we really love and we're really good at most of the time, the quicker we get there, the more successful we get there, and certainly the happier we get there.
Oh, the more passion you'll have for doing it as
Yes.
well, and
Yeah,
that'll show in
absolutely.
everything, and the people that you're working with, and the people that your clients ultimately that you're helping and dealing with as
Yeah.
well. That if you're doing something that you love, then that'll come through.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. And Scott, you're probably aware we're a business coaching organisation. I'm just keen to know who the best coaches you've worked with, whether that's business, sport, or life in general.
Well, I've worked with many different coaches in the golf side of things as I
Yes.
was growing up and stuff like that. But the best coach I've ever had, that's got to be my mum.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Because she taught me to be the person that I am, basically, and gave me the sort of moral compass that I've got, and my integrity and determination and passion, really.
Brilliant.
She always believed in me and encouraged me like a coach would do, and picked me up when I was down.
Brilliant.
And like all good Scottish mums, she brought me back down to earth when I was getting too big for my boots as well. um,
Wonderful.
so she built the foundation, really, that's everything to me. So that she gave me the sort of components that have served me well in my business life as well. So yeah, I've got to say without doubt it be
Wonderful.
my mum. God bless her.
Wonderful. That's what a great tribute. That's absolutely wonderful. And whether it's from her or anybody else, do you have any favourite quotes or sayings that you catch yourself using on a regular basis?
Um, well, I probably alluded to one earlier there that which is do what you say and say what you do. So
Yeah.
basically, be honest, and if you say you're going to do something, do it
Yeah.
when you say you're going to do it. And if
Yeah.
you can't do it, go back and tell the person that you couldn't do it for the following reasons, rather than just leaving people hanging.
Brilliant.
So that's one, and probably an old Scottish saying, which is "Love many, trust few, and always paddle your own canoe." So what that really means is that be true to yourself, but also you're the one that's responsible for getting to where you want to get to, basically. So it's down to you to do what you need to do.
Brilliant. Just repeat that one. I love that. I've never heard that before. Love.
Love many, trust few, and always paddle your own canoe.
Love marriage. I think that's wonderful. I'll be remembering that one. I'll be using that again. Love many, trust few, and always paddle your own canoe. Good luck. Thank you. Thank you. I may
It must be a Scottish saying. That must be what it is.
I've never heard that before, but I just love it. It's just great. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on there. That's a whole bunch of stuff. And I mean, obviously, you said every day's a learning day, and you've learned. You can see you've learned so much from different people, your mother, and business in general. What have you learned about yourself, especially since through your career, but especially since you founded the business?
What have I learned about myself? Probably the biggest thing is that my priorities and goals have completely changed as you travel through your journey.
Yeah,
Things that were really important to me as a young man in my 20s are relatively unimportant now. The material things that people want to collect, like cars and money and houses and
yeah,
clothes and all these sorts of things, that you think are the greatest motivators and the biggest desires in the world. As you start to mature a bit more, you realize that the material things
yeah,
aren't the most important things in the world
yes,
at all. It's friends, family, achieving your goals, working with a great bunch of people, motivating them, getting the most out of
yeah,
them, and helping other people to be the best version of them that they can be, really. So these are the things that change, really. Looking after your clients, making sure that they get a great service. When the client recommends you and refers you to one of their friends and family, there's no greater buzz than that, basically,
yeah,
because it means that what you're doing is the right thing by people,
yeah,
that they're prepared to make recommendations and referrals.
yeah,
Speaking to new prospects, talking about the service that we provide. When we set up the company, what we wanted to do was give our clients and our partners the biggest, widest choice of lenders that's out there,
yeah.
basically,
Great.
so that we could look after them the
Yeah,
best. Some businesses are quite narrow and only deal with a
yeah,
limited panel of lenders.
yes,
Um, we want to deal with as many as possible to cover and help as many different scenarios as we possibly could.
Brilliant.
Similarly, on the protection side of things, some companies out there only deal with a limited number of providers, and indeed only one provider with heavily loaded insurance premiums to maximise the commission returns for themselves rather than looking after their clients.
Right. Yeah.
Again, when we set up the business, what we wanted to be was completely transparent and deal with as many different insurance companies as was appropriate. So again, we could get our clients the best value for their money.
Yep. Brilliant.
So doing things like that and putting the client at the front of everything that you do, that's the most important thing, really, because you're being true to yourself then.
Yeah. Brilliant. Brilliant. Well, I'm sure that's going to lead to continued success as you've achieved already. And looking forward, what does the future look like for you guys? And what challenges do you think you might face, if any, Scott?
Going into business. So look, if I'm being realistic, it's not for everybody. So some people are more suited to being an employee rather than an entrepreneur. So that's seek advice, speak to people that you love and you trust round about you to see whether before you make the jump, to see whether people think it is suitable for you. But if you are, as I would say, a square peg in a round hole, and have the attributes to make the jump and set up your own business, then go for it. Otherwise, you'll regret it. Do your research, make sure that you have the right mindset, and follow your dreams. But probably the biggest thing is learn from your mistakes, because we all make them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but not everybody learns from them, and that's part of it as well. That accept them, take it on the chin, but don't make the same mistake twice. And another thing is, don't forget to laugh along the way as well, because you want to enjoy it. And we're not here for a visit. It's a one-off, so make sure that you make the most out of it, and
absolutely
be selective with the people that you trust as well. What are your reasons for going into business? Is it short-term ego boost, or is it sustainable progression that you want to make? So these are the reasons for us doing what we did, basically, and launching the business that we did.
Brilliant. And if you started again, just looking back a little bit, if you started again, is there anything significant you do differently, do you think, Scott?
Well, one of the biggest learning points from us was probably misplaced loyalty, if I may.
Right.
Well, it was a hard lesson that we learned, really, when we started off and recruited people that we formerly worked with.
Right. Yep.
When we set up our business, can we come and join you? Many of whom we actually recruited, employed ourselves, sort of thing, into previous roles. And we thought that when they were coming across to work with us, they were probably going to be the most loyal, motivated, driven performers. I thought, this is a shoe in this.
Yes.
We've got these on board, and this is going to be great. Sometimes that happened. However, in a lot of instances, we were disappointed because what we found was the opposite, and people were almost taking advantage of our previous association.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a big eye opener, and a frustration for us when we thought, we were giving people a role, and it wasn't repaid in terms of what we were looking for. So that's a big one. And another one is, don't try and expand too quickly.
Yeah.
We launched the business, everything was going particularly well. We were expanding with new recruits, and then Q4 of last year, that's when Trustonomics hit, and the market cooled, and interest rates suddenly shot up.
Yes.
Lenders started to have a bit of a crisis of conscience in terms of lending and things like that.
Yeah.
Just at a time when we'd invested in bringing on more people.
Yeah.
So nobody saw that coming, to be fair. But probably brings me on to my next point when you're talking about sayings as well. As I remember somebody said to me that a pound earned is harder than a pound spent.
Yeah.
And what we're basically meaning is that it's harder to earn the money than it is to spend the money. So think very carefully, and probably what you want is at least 4 times a return for every pound that you're spending. You need to be bringing in at least 4 times as much to cover it all, as well as the costs as well. So there's probably 2 or 3 there that to get you going. That if we were starting again, what we would do differently, really.
Brilliant. And finally, what would be the best advice you could give an 18-year-old you if you could go back in time and do so, Scott?
Probably the best advice I would give is you've got 2 ears and 1 mouth, and use them in that ratio.
Brilliant.
Listening's not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And it's bizarre in this country. In other cultures, age equals wisdom. And if you look at the wisdom that's round about you, that's available for free, ask people. Because they'll have been there, they'll have done it, they'll have worn the t-shirt, they'll have made the mistakes, they can save you making the mistakes by listening to them. And be true to yourself. Always give it your best shot. The world doesn't owe you a living. As I mentioned, you're only here once. But the biggest thing is success is nothing unless you have somebody to share it with.
Yeah.
So these are all the things that I would advice I'd give an 18-year-old me. Now, whether I'd actually take it in is a different matter.
That is the challenge.
But certainly these are the lessons that I've learned. And if you could turn the clock back and reflect on these things and do things slightly differently, you'd have got ahead a lot quicker, I think.
Brilliant. Well, Scott, it's been delightful speaking and a lot of learnings in what we've discussed, and I hope anyone watching, takes a lot of that on board, because there's lots of gold in what we've talked about. And for anyone watching would like to get in touch with you or Cox Flight, what would be the easiest way to do so? Well,
either call me directly or look at our website. So coxandflight.com, COXANDFLIGHT.com. That'll take you to our website. You could or could email me directly, Scot with 1 T, SCOT, at coxandflight.com.
Wonderful. Well, look, it'd be great to maybe catch up with you again in another 6-12 months to just see the next stages and hopefully some new learnings. But in the meantime, thanks so much for your time, Ted. It's been really great.
If you have me back, it'll be a pleasure to speak to you again. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you.